The CEO and founder of AEW, Tony Khan, is wilding out on Twitter. Something very interesting is being said on social media about these bots that are targeting anti-AEW accounts. It's a very interesting scenario. This story in general is just crazy, so we are going to talk about it. Also, today we're going to talk about some very interesting news coming out of MLW. Really, nobody knows what the hell has transpired here, but it's very, very crazy stuff. Also, WWE has made a decision on those NXT Championship belts held by MSK. So we're going to talk about it all in today's video. As always, I'm going to keep you guys updated with everything that's happening in pro wrestling. My name is Ango, and with that being said, let's jump into the news. So the Park family, the LA Park family, has been fired from MLW. Now, a new report from the Wrestling Observer newsletter noted that there was heat on LA Park and MLW over something that happened in the past, which wasn't made clear. While at the same time, Park has a reputation that comes from being difficult to deal with. However, Park is a legend and MLW kept using him because he was a star who always got over. Now, that has changed because of an incident that took place during WrestleMania weekend in Texas. So basically, the Park family was scheduled to do a post-match run-in at the MLW Intimidation Games taping, and this was done to set up Jacob Fatu versus Park, but the Parks got very rough with Fatu. Basically, what this ended up becoming was a situation where Alexander Hammerstone was part of the run-in, and he was bleeding from the side of his head because he and Park exchanged punches. Now, it is being said that these guys were working very, very stiff. They completely went off the script, ruined the post-match angle, and went into business for themselves. So very, very interesting stuff coming out of MLW this past weekend. But it just goes to show you that, like, first of all, it's the right decision, right? Anytime a wrestler goes into business for themselves, the company needs to do something right away. And it sets a perfect example for anybody else who wants to do the same thing and follow in those footsteps. So one, thank you to Wrestling Observer newsletter for the report, and two, for Wrestling Inc. For getting everything transcribed and documented. Now, here's the thing. When something like this happens, again, it is a good example for the company to say, hey, we don't allow this type of stuff. But it just goes to show you, like, this will always follow your reputation no matter which company you go to. And it's a shame. You know, MLW is a product that you don't want to see them have too much drama or too many issues. You want to see them grow and blossom into something bigger. That's not going to happen when there's stories about them that are negative. And it's not even necessarily the company, but it ended up taking place in the company. But again, good decision for them being fired. And, you know, it's unfortunate, but that's just kind of the way it goes, unfortunately. With that being said, I want to move over to the NXT Tag Team Championship belts. For those who are unaware, WWE has still yet to formally announce that Nash Carter has been fired from the company. No sort of release announcement or anything like that. They're not bringing any attention to it whatsoever, but WWE has announced in a very vague social media post and web post that the NXT Tag Team Championship belts have been vacated. So we don't know necessarily what this means for Wes Lee, but I do imagine at some point either WWE finds a way to perhaps push him as a singles guy, or maybe they put him in a different tag team. You know, they obviously had something going with Riddle as well. I know he's doing stuff with Randy Orton, but it's just a very unfortunate situation. This whole ordeal has definitely been something that I think a lot of people are talking about, and it's all for the wrong reasons. And, you know, with these tag team championship belts being, you know, vacated, we're going to have a new champion next week on NXT, which will be cool. But at the end of the day, you know, people are obviously impacted by this. And, you know, one of the things for me personally that I'm very curious to see as a fan is what they do with Wes Lee. You know, I believe you could repackage him. I believe he's got the personality, he's got the charisma, he's got the moveset to impress people as a singles guy. And I don't want to see his push being derailed. I don't want to see this guy being taken off TV, but I am afraid that could be the direction they're headed. Now, with Cameron Grimes holding the North American Championship, obviously you have Carmelo Hayes, Tony D'Angelo, and so many other people in this mid-card that is very, very stacked. NXT is continuing to develop talent. I'm curious if maybe Triple H and Shawn Michaels give Wes Lee an opportunity to become a North American champion. You know, there's a lot of opportunities if they choose to repackage him. Maybe that means a new name. I don't know. But I am very, very curious to see how that transpires over time, because truth be told, with the NXT Tag Team Championships, there's a great tag team division there. It's not on the same level as AEW, because if you guys watch my videos, you know I praise AEW's tag team division. But NXT actually has an impressive tag team division, and I think this could be a very, very cool thing that ends up happening, not only for the tag team division, but also for Wes Lee. Like, for as unfortunate as this decision is, and everything that's been happening here, you know, if there's any positives that come out of it, maybe this can lead to something greater for Wes Lee. Obviously, that's what we would hope for, but there is that fear that remains. Maybe he could be screwed out of some sort of push, and hopefully, you know, he's not impacted by this by any means. All right, guys, in the final story that everybody is talking about, we got to talk about it, my friends. Tony Khan dropped some incredibly crazy tweets today. He first started off by tweeting, "Ever wonder why so much of the activity of these accounts is retweets and replies? Like, who actually has 80% of their activity as straight up retweets?" This was the tweet that was in response to the original tweet that suggested that there was, so basically what happened is there was an independent study that has been confirmed that much of the staunch anti-AEW online community aren't real individuals. It's a staff running thousands of accounts plus an army of bots to signal boost them. Look closely, these aren't real people who would pay for such a wildly expensive thing. So when you look at this, he continues to go off on Twitter. Research this one yourselves. You internet detectives thrive in these situations. Their boiler room staff is going to be working overtime on Friday, and I love it. This is unbelievable. So basically what Tony Khan is saying is that he did an independent study, some research. He had somebody do this research for him that was done independently. And keep in mind, Tony Khan does own an analytics company too. But basically what he is saying is that there are Twitter accounts that exist, or just in general, Twitter accounts that spew anti-AEW content on Twitter. And then a social media bot company or whatever it may be is basically using bots to further this narrative. So that's why you'll see a ton of retweets, a ton of quote retweets and things like that. And it drives this engagement. So then when you search for, let's just say, AEW Jon Moxley, you will see all of those negative accounts that are talking about it, right? Now, this is a really weird situation because based on the current climate of social media, I mean, it's not really shocking, but my issue here is that Tony Khan did this on Friday to promote Rampage. I mean, realistically, what it comes down to it is he's promoting Rampage. He's getting people talking about their product. The tweet that's got a lot of people talking, you know, their boiler room staff is going to be working overtime on a Friday, and I love it. You know, this whole anti-WWE thing, and I've said it before, I've said it so many times, it's you're constantly talking about WWE. There's constantly this narrative that's anti-WWE. Wrestling fans are trying to tell me it was all Cody Rhodes, but no, I see this firsthand as Tony Khan is talking negatively, and at the end of the day, for AEW's business to grow, especially when they have such a good product, you want to be as inviting as possible to these potential new fans. And I just can't see how somebody would want to watch this product if they've never heard of it before, when every time they watch it or see something that comes from them is negative, you know, from WWE. If you're a WWE fan and you're watching AEW for the first time, they're basically telling you, hey, the company that you love so much sucks, and that's why you need to watch us. And wrestling fans, when you get away from social media, it's not that deep for them. Bro, they just want to watch wrestling. And I think this narrative that Tony Khan continues to push, I think his business, his company would grow if it was way more inviting to more fans. But instead, there's all of this stuff being said about bots and Twitter bots and this and that. I think AEW's got a good product, but holy shit, man, you got to lay off the Twitter a little bit. It is what it is. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and I'll see you next time.